Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is 5:27 a.m. on a Friday morning. We are heading to work in the Pontiac Solstice. I have a rule with this car. If the day is sunny, there's no precipitation, I don't care what the temperature is, I take the car out. Because soon enough, Old Man Winter will be here, and you will not be able to take this car out at all. So I'm trying to get the most out of this car before the real winter starts. I'm hoping today I can do a little overview of this car, get some exterior shots, and hopefully do a rolling review as well. There's just so much I want to say about this car, so many things I want to talk about, and hopefully today's the day I can actually get to it. So, all right, on to work. We'll come back when the sun is out. It's a little dark in here, but this will work. I should just put the roof down. It's a little too cold for that. It's about 50 degrees outside. Welcome back to GTyar. I finally have time to do a rolling review of the Pontiac Solstice that I acquired about, I think, a month ago. And I couldn't pick a more perfect day to do a rolling review. I have been taking this car out every day that it's not raining. So I've driven it for about a little less than a month now. And during that month, I probably drove it like half the month because it was a pretty rainy October. But regardless, now we have some time to do a rolling review. I want to talk about a bunch of things that I like about this car, and then some things that I don't like about the car. So the first thing I want to chat about is the driving experience in general. Let's just go into that. And the driving experience is really fun. It's just a lot of fun, and it's very, what's the word? I feel so cool in this car. Maybe that's because I've never really owned a proper sports car before. This is like my first real sports car. But I feel like a superstar when I'm driving this thing. I know it's just a Pontiac Solstice, but it feels like I'm driving like a Corvette or a Viper or something just way more substantial and way cooler. That has a lot to do with the styling of the car, has a lot to do with how hefty the car feels in my hands and just in general as it's moving along the road. It feels like a very beefy car, even though it's not humongous or terribly heavy. But it just feels like a much more substantial car than it is, size-wise and weight-wise. And it makes you feel cool because it looks cool. It just looks incredible. There's so much style in this car for a car that's so cheap these days. I mean, you could pick these up for $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. It's phenomenal how much style you get for the money. It's such a cool looking machine, and it handles well, and it's just, I don't know, it's well balanced. I love it. I love everything about the driving experience. Let me talk about the engine a little bit. It's a 2.4 liter inline four. It's not a happy high revving motor. It enjoys staying below, I think, 4,500 RPM, because all the torque is between 1 and 3,500 RPM. After that, the torque drops off significantly, and the engine doesn't sound happy as you push it beyond there. I think I've only brought it up to 6,000 RPM 2 times, and it doesn't sound happy. So I don't go there, and it doesn't really give you that much more speed, like I said, after 3,500 RPM. So it's a very low-end torquey engine. It sounds good, stock. I've done nothing to the car. It sounds decent enough. I don't think I'm going to mess with anything on the exhaust system. The shifting is very easy. It's very predictable. There's no rubberiness to it. It's very direct. It's just very forgiving, and I love the way this car shifts. And the shifter is literally exactly where you want it to be. My right hand just perfectly sits on it, and it's placed perfectly. Speaking of placement, let's talk about the placement of instruments and what is offered here at the dashboard. I love this car for the fact that it's so simple. And what I'm looking at here in front of me, I'll put some shots, some B-roll shots of this right now. But what I'm looking at is just a speedometer, a tachometer, a fuel gauge, and then there's like a small digital readout that tells me some basic information. I have it set to show me the coolant temperature, since I like to keep an eye on how hot the engine's running, just in case it starts getting too hot. Then I know something's wrong. I got to pull over. But yeah, that's what's directly in front of me. It's super, super simple, right? And that helps me focus more on what's happening outside the windshield. I don't have to look down here too often. I'm looking out the window, or if the roof is off, I'm looking up and around. It's just, I like that very simple layout in front of me here. The radio layout, it's a very simple radio. It's nothing fancy, but it sounds really good. This car has, I think it's got like 4 speakers up front, including the 2 tweeters that are in the A-pillars here. And then it's got a giant, well, not giant, but subwoofer behind the passenger seat here next to me. So the sound quality, it's not like a high fidelity sound system, but it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of energy to it. So you can crank up whatever you like to listen to, and it sounds, pretty heavy duty. And it gets pretty loud too. Not that I like super loud music these days. I used to enjoy loud music, very loud music, but not these days. My ears are getting old. Let's talk about the climate control system. Super simple. We've just got the heat selector, the fan speed, and then we have the where you're blowing the air out of. We've got 4 vents. All of them are placed perfectly, and you do need all 4 of these vents blowing on you at the hottest level when you have the roof down and it's kind of like below 60 degrees outside, because it does, the wind comes into the cabin, and if you don't have something to kind of fight that cooler temperature, you'd be pretty cold in here. But they did a great job of setting up the vents and making sure there's enough airflow coming in to keep everything nice and comfortable for you. I want to talk about the steering wheel, because I think the steering wheel is absolutely perfect for this car. It's the perfect size. It feels good in your hands. This one specifically is leather. I don't know if they're all leather covered, but this is a nice leather wheel. And it just feels, it's such a satisfying car to drive. And it's got just the right amount of buttons on it. On the right side, we've got, I think, volume control and channel selector. And there's a mute button here. And on the other side is the cruise control stuff. And then there's the button to select what you want to see in your digital readout in front of you. So, again, not too many distractions here on the wheel, which is good. None of us need more distractions, that's for sure. A lot of these modern cars, there are buttons and screens all over the place. It's too much. Keep it simple, Oh, let's talk about storage space in here. There is not much storage space in this car. I didn't buy it for storage space, so it's not really a big deal. But you have to acknowledge the fact that there's almost nowhere to put anything inside the interior here. All we have is the glove compartment, which is like a normal sized glove compartment. We have 2 little leather pouches on these front seats here for the driver and passenger. Good for keeping keys or a cell phone in. I think basically they're just cell phone pouches. And then there's this little cubby right here behind me that you can keep. I don't know. It's like big enough to hold 2 Coca-Cola cans. So that's it. That's literally it. There's nowhere else to put anything. There's no doors in there's no pockets in the doors. There's nothing above you, of course. No center console storage under your arm. Nothing in the dash. Nowhere to put anything. So you just have to kind of plan accordingly when you're going somewhere. If you wanted to bring some stuff with you, the interior is not going to be very helpful to you. The trunk, which I'll show you guys on the exterior walk around of the car. If the roof is in place, the trunk's not terrible. It's actually surprisingly roomy. Enough room for some basic tools, a couple of bags, whatever. Oh boy. Let's see if I can get by this person. There we go. Right now is actually a good time to talk about what this car is like at highway speeds and what it sounds like in the cabin. It's surprisingly insulated. This roof is nothing special. It's just like a single layer of canvas, whatever the material is. I'm not even sure, but it's just a single layer. There's no padding on it at all. But when you're on the highway, there's not that much wind noise, and you don't really hear a ton of like road noise or wheel noise from other vehicles either. I mean, I guess these windows next to me are doing most of the blocking of direct noise. But when you're doing 70 miles an hour, you would expect to hear just a lot more coming through the roof itself, and it's not as bad as you think it is. Here, I'm gonna get on the highway right now, and you'll be hearing it too. That sun is directly in my face. Great. Here, I'll do this so you can see me. The sun's burning my eyes. Okay, so now that's better. You can't see me, but it doesn't matter. So now we're on 495 South. We're doing about 65, and I'll just be quiet for a minute so you can hear it. Well, now we're doing 55. It's not terrible. You can totally carry on a conversation in here, make a phone call. Whatever you need, it's really not bad at all. And the car likes to be in fifth gear, doing about 60. That's where it just seems it's happiest. It feels very well planted. The steering is nice and direct. It's just a very comfortable cruiser. I think this car was designed for cruising, kind of like the Corvette. Obviously the Corvette's roomier and it's got more power, but this is like a baby Corvette. It just feels planted and sure and very happy cruising along at highway speeds. Alright, now we're picking up speed. We're back to 60. Once you get past like 60, you start hearing a little bit of wind noise back here, like right behind me and right over here. But like I said, nothing terrible. All right, I'm gonna do an exterior review of this car right now, or just overview. But first, I need to eat something because I didn't have lunch today. So I'm not advertising for them at all. I love the food. So I'm gonna take a couple minutes, eat, and then we can show you around this car. Oh my God, that was delicious. I was so hungry. All right, let's talk about the Pontiac Solstice, shall we? Let me get my shadow out of the way. There we go. That's a nice shot. So, what we have here is a 2007 Pontiac Solstice. It is the base model. It is forest green, and it is absolutely lovely in every way. I think it's a gorgeous car. I think this color is perfect for it. Although I also like this car in silver. I have seen it in silver. It doesn't look good in red, in my opinion. But yeah, the green, silver, what else? I've seen it in black. It looks okay in black too. But you want a color that's like lighter so you can see all these curves and lines and creases and just all the beauty they put in this car. So yeah, let's take a little time here and chat about the exterior of this car, which I think is one of its strongest assets, is the looks. I guess I'll start off with the best angles of this car, right? I think this is the first good angle on this car. One of its best angles. And then of course the next one would be this shot right here. That's gorgeous. This car was less than 10 grand. Can you believe it? Just look at it. Would you look at it? It's beautiful. I wanted to talk a little bit about these wheels. Now, I think these wheels are perfectly sized for this vehicle, but they're bigger than they need to be for a car this heavy and this size. But I think this car is a little bit more about show than it is about go. And having these monster tires on it just adds to the show factor, right? What we have here, let me see, what are these? There it is, it's their 45 R18s, okay. So 18-inch rims, fairly wide. You know, they're not monster wide, but they're fairly wide for a car this big. And I think they're perfect. I love that they're polished aluminum, and they're just giant. They look great. They just really look good on this car. Look at that color. I don't know if it's coming out on the camera, but that color it just sparkles in the sunshine. Let me get close up to it. Yeah, it's a pretty decent paint job. You know, for a Pontiac, jeez. Never owned a Pontiac before. It's my first Pontiac, my first convertible. Yeah, I'm just so impressed with the overall design and so far build quality. I mean, this car's from '07. It's got 96,000 miles on it, but you know, it doesn't feel like it at all. It's still tight. Feels good. I don't hear any weird rattles or shakes or anything loose. All right. Let us open up the hood and we can check out the gorgeous 2.4 liter engine that's in this bad boy, I think. So the hood opens up. Here, let me do it from the other side. The sun's in my face. Okay, check this out. I love this. It opens up forward like this. I think that's so cool. It's got hydraulic lifters here. These hydraulic shocks that keep it up so you don't have to put any bars up to hold the hood up. But there she is. There's it says the Ecotech VVT 2.4 liter engine. This engine does have a timing chain. I like that very much. Less worry about timing chain issues. Let me just give you a slow pan of everything back here. There's the air intake box, the filter goes, headlights, and power steering fluid. Battery's actually down here. Clean these leaves off. Yeah, so the battery's tucked away here. I don't know how you'd get this battery out if you had to change it. I'd imagine you'd have to remove the side panel or something. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that now. Battery looks to be in good condition. But yeah, there's the engine. Very easy to access everything. That's the beauty of having a hood that opens up this way. I like that they put Solstice in the cover here, the little sound cover. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, this car has the smallest windshield wipers. Just tiny little wipers. Obviously, because the windshield's not too tall. But yeah, let me get to the other side and show you some more. I used to have a BMW E34 that opened up this way too. And it was definitely easier to work on the engine with this much access to it. So yeah, there she is, super clean. This is exactly how I bought the car. I have not cleaned this engine bay at all. The dealership I bought this from, it's in Holliston, Massachusetts, and it's called the Car Vault. They did not pay me to advertise their name. I'm just so happy with the Car Vault because They sell cool cars, and all their cars are completely in order. You know, you don't have to worry about buying a car that's not ready to go and ready to pass inspection. Yeah, they're amazing over there. Great selection, great prices, no dock fees, no haggling, no nonsense. Just, you know, you go in, they have some great cars, and if you want it, you just say, I want this car, and they say, okay, bring a check and it's yours, you know? Straightforward, simple stuff. I'm gonna show you now the trunk situation in this car, which I was talking earlier about storage in this vehicle. There's not a ton of storage inside. I was talking about the, I can show you now since we're not moving, but here's the glove compartment, right? Just enough room, right? That's all you really need for a glove compartment. There's a cup holder here, which doesn't work. The spring doesn't pop the cup holder out. I tried it once, it just flops halfway out, and I don't know. I don't really need to use that because I have two cup holders right there, which are very convenient, and they don't really bump into your elbow, even though it looks like it does. It does not. So yeah, we got storage there, storage back here. I showed you this little cubby, and then we got these two pouches here in front of the seats, on the front of the passenger and the driver, and that's it. That's all the storage you get in here. Nothing else. But there's a trunk. So now with the roof in place, right? The trunk is in its most spacious setup. So we're gonna open up the trunk right here. And when you push that button, these come flying up like that. Same on the other side, right? And then you can kind of grab here. You just have a little bit of a lip you can grab, and voila, there is the trunk. It is not humongous, but it is perfectly fine for a convertible. This is very, very acceptable for a convertible setup. This is the gas tank I was talking about. It takes up a lot of the center space here. This is also where the glass rests when you open up the roof and put it down. So it kind of serves two purposes. But yeah, and you got all this space next to it, like here. Put my hand in there for reference. I do have a lot of gadgets and crap I carry with me at all times. A hat, absolutely necessary, especially when the top is down. Got my quick detailer stuff here. Got some tools and inflator. Oh, let me tell you about the spare tire situation. There is none. Yep, no spare tire. Yeah, you couldn't fit a spare tire big enough in the trunk to handle this setup here. So anyways, you know what they give you instead of a spare tire is they give you an inflator kit that's got the slime in it that plugs up holes. So I took that out because I just don't think that's really the best option when you have an actual nail in your tire or flat. What I did is I went out and bought a jack, right? One of those just basic scissor jacks. I bought a lug nut kit, lug nut wrench right there. It's one of those breakdown ones. You can, breakdown lug wrench. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. So between the jack and the lug wrench, and I have in here, I have a tire patch kit. So between all these things here, if I ever got a flat and it wasn't something too severe, if it was just like a nail or a screw, I could just repair the tire myself with the tire repair kit, throw it back on the car, and be good to go. I think that's a better option than trying to pump it up with slime, and I don't know. I just never think that stuff actually works. So now I'm pretty confident taking this car anywhere, any distance, and not worrying too much about the tire situation. So yeah, without droning on too much, there's a trunk. And since the trunk is open, we might as well take the top down so I can show you that operation. Okay. So the first thing you do, obviously you open the trunk, push that button, and it opened up. Second thing is you make sure there's nothing here or there. This back portion here, the roof doesn't really touch at all. So you don't have to worry about stuff over there. Then you come over here and you unlatch the roof. You just pull this handle down and then back. All right, and that unlatches it. So now it's simply a process of kind of lifting back and up. And I'm gonna do this with one hand. It is possible to do with one hand, so I'm gonna do it. And I'll just do it slowly so you can see how it all folds in. All right. Check it out. And it goes. And just give it a little push down. That's it. Let me get this side pushed down a bit. Perfect. So the whole thing, if you're just doing it without explaining it, takes about 25-30 seconds total. Oh, don't mind these. These are my special modification. So these flaps are supposed to open when you put the roof back in place. But since these don't open fully, they kind of open halfway. I think the cord that pulls it is kind of slacked. Since they don't open all the way, I need to keep them fully open whenever I put the roof back on. So now, with the roof like put away, I just take those pieces of foam out and just stick them in there for the next time. I'll do this side too. Okay. So that's my little modification there, my special foam blocks. So then all you got to do is close the trunk. That's it. And now the car has transformed into its second position, its topless position. Let's close this place. Okay, so now let's take a good look at this car with the top down fully. Oh, look at that. Please excuse my shadow. There we go. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? Those two undulations, right? That really just sets this car apart. You don't see too many cars with that kind of setup on the rear. You know, the rear trunk lid. That just looks so cool. I know it's just a Solstice, but it, like I said before, it feels more substantial. It feels like it's more car than you pay for, right? So yeah, there she is in the top down position. Now I wish I could drive this car home. I'm about half an hour from my house with the top down, but like I said, it's like 55 degrees out right now, a little chilly, and on the highway it would be almost unbearable. But yeah, there she is with the roof down. Take a look inside, get a good view there. Yeah, it's just a simple car. It's fun. I think it's got like a level of elegance and class for the money. I mean, yeah, it's a Pontiac, but it's got a lot of class for a Pontiac. It looks great with the roof down. I really wish I could drive it like this right now, because the whole experience changes with the roof off like this. Oh, it's just so cool. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to talk about with this roof, and it's one of the complaints I have. Well, not really a complaint, just like a gripe, I guess. Here, let me just latch it back in place. See, these are the pins I was talking about. You just have to make sure that they're like sitting on that plastic little shelf right there before you latch it. Yeah, it's in good now. So yeah, one of the gripes I have is that this roof, you can't remove it while you're sitting in the car, right? You have to stop, get out, open the trunk, do a couple things. Yeah, it could take 30 seconds to do. It's not long, but it's annoying that you have to stop the car and get out. And when I think of the perfect convertible, I think of the Miata. And I actually test drove a Miata before I bought this car. And they have the convertible roof situation down perfectly. I mean, perfectly, right? Because you're sitting in traffic anywhere. You could be driving, doing 10, 20 miles an hour. And if you're like, oh, I want the roof down now, you can have it in about 3 to 5 seconds. All you do is, you know what? Actually, let me have my friend Charles show you. He has a Miata. I'm going to have him show you right now. Charles, can you please show everybody how easy it is to put down the roof in a Miata?
All right, Rob, let me show you how a good convertible roof works. Just unhook it here, and hook it there, and you're done.
Charles, bless your soul. Thank you so much for showing us that. See, it's magic. It takes like 3 seconds, and you can do it you're just sitting in your chair, just boom, down, ready to go. Oh, I see a little bit of rain coming. Oh, hold on, stand by. Done. 3 seconds, roof's back on. Just phenomenal. That's the one thing I wish this car had. I wish it had that instant on-off, roof situation. But, wah, no big deal. So I just wish it was as easy as a Miata. As you can see, it's very, very easy. Okay, back to this. All right, so roof is back in place. I'm just gonna close the trunk. You just need to give it a gentle slam. And these things pop right back into their respective holes, like so. And here is the last part about the roof that I'm going to talk about. You just saw the car with the roof off. It looks great. It looks really good, right? Now, check this out. I think the car looks... This is like a crazy thing to say, but I think the car actually looks a tiny bit better with the roof on. And that is such a hard thing to do with the convertible, is to make the roof look like it fits on the car, or like it's part of the design or something. Because some cars, a lot of convertibles I look at, and the roof never looks good with the whole car. I mean, it's there, it's functional on most cars, and whatever, it's fine. But I think this car specifically has one of the best looking roofs I've ever seen on a convertible. Seriously, it looks like just as good with the roof on as it does with the roof off. I think that's really special. I respect that. I respect the designers at GM for, taking the time to make it look good in both positions. I really don't have much else to say about this car right now, other than I am enjoying it immensely. I cannot wait for this winter to pass through and for spring to come back so that I can start enjoying the car again, because I pretty much have to put this thing away within the next month. It's just getting colder and colder, and pretty soon the snow will be here. It's gonna snow. Anyways, I appreciate you watching, and if you have any questions about the car, please put them in the comment section below. So that's pretty much it. Buckle up, put down that phone, and enjoy the drive. We'll see you on the next one.